Hello everyone, Keckles here. I have just been leveling in World of Warcraft, and I've been thinking, Blizzcon is coming up in a few days now. I want to say 5 at this point. I think it's on Friday it starts. And it's looking very, very likely that they're going to announce a new expansion there, whatever that may be. And of course, everybody is speculating on it. I'm sure people were speculating on it back before Legion came out, though, to be fair. Because I am also curious what 9.0 is going to be, even though 8.0 isn't even out yet. But I wanted to give my 2 cents on it, or on what I think it may be, if, you know, anybody actually watches this and cares. A lot of my points are probably just going to be points that other people have made and stuff that I've watched, like from Nixium or Taliesin or whoever. Belur, I think, is how he pronounces it, I think. But I just wanted to say what I would like to see. Admittedly, a lot of what I would like to see is very, probably not likely. Just because I like to imagine a lot of big and grand stuff that logically doesn't make sense, I would say, from a development standpoint or whatever. As, of course, neat as it would be. So, first off, spoilers as well. For those of you who don't know what happens in the PTR or after Antorus, sadly, I was not able to avoid those spoilers, even though it was very, very hard to. So I kind of know what's going on. So spoilers start here, potentially up for the expansion as well if I get anything right. We go to Antorus, we beat down the bad guy, already fallen apart. We beat down Argus the Unmaker, supposedly also Sargeras to an extent. I don't know where this quest is. It's been a while since I've been here. All that goes down. Illidan, kind of becomes Sargeras's warden, almost. Warden kind of thing, and kind of just keeps Sargeras locked away. And I guess that's it for Illidan as well. For now, who knows what'll happen in the future. 9.0, Return of Sargeras. So, you know, that's a pretty big threat out of the way, but in a temper tantrum, Sargeras is all pissed off about everything going on, and he stabs Azeroth, which is a really dick move, all things considered, and he ends up stabbing Silithus, which I am pretty close by to. Right now, I think. Which, for those of you who don't know, Silithus is where the old god Cthulhu is, kind of like captured away. And what Sargeras' stabbing of the planet does is basically create something on the scale of the Well of Eternity. Now, I'm not all that familiar with the Well of Eternity. I'm no expert on lore or anything, but the Well of Eternity was basically it was just like a wellspring of power. Something like that. It's big bad news if in the wrong hands, such as the hands of an old god, like Cthulhu. And that's kind of where it ends. There's voice clips which I haven't actually listened to, so I don't know if I'm going to say something that's actually mentioned in those, but I'm still trying to avoid as much as I possibly can. So, it's a weird little cave. All that happens, yada yada yada. Presumably that's going to lead into 8.0, whatever it's called. I'm thinking probably well, no, we'll get to the name that I think when we're done talking about everything. But I do think that the focus of the expansion is definitely going to be primarily old gods themed, and if it's not primarily Old God themed, it is at the very least going to have a lot of Old God influence. There's absolutely no way that that's not going to be the case, in my opinion. A lot of people think we're going to go to Kultiras or Kultiras or whatever. I think so too. It's about time we go there, really. But not just there. It'll probably be a bunch of islands. I imagine if the Old Gods are involved, then the lady herself, Queen Ashara, will also be involved, which would mean we'd end up going to Najatar, maybe. Probably a bunch of other islands too, Tel Aviv, get some bananas, etc., etc. I don't really know a whole lot about the islands. I don't know if anybody does. I don't know if that's really something that's been talked about. I don't have the World of Warcraft Chronicles, so I would like to have them. I'll get them eventually, though. So, I think it's more or less guaranteed that the setting is going to be Kultiras, and it's going to be very Old Gods themed. I have a few questions for that, which is like, one of them is, you know, suddenly there's this big kind of new Well of Eternity thing in Silithus, and we're leaving the continent and going to a different one, string of islands, just leaving this Well of Eternity thing completely unguarded. That seems kind of strange to me, but so that might mean it's going to go in a completely different way, but maybe not, because there was also all that Kultira stuff found in the data files alongside the screenshot of Silithus with the giant sword wound in it, which strangely looks a lot like Cthulhu's eye, I noticed. Probably coincidental, but that's just an observation I made. I don't really know a whole lot about what could be on the islands, because again, I'm not that well versed on all the lore in World of Warcraft, and even less so on Kultiras. I know Jaina is involved. But I also think, and I know not a whole lot of people are thinking this, but I think it's a distinct possibility, is just like Cataclysm, maybe another like complete world revamp kind of thing, because it's been the same time frame since, like, from vanilla to Cata, the same amount of time has passed, I think, at least expansion wise, because there's been, after Cata there was Mists, then Warlords of Draenor, now Legion, and then 8.0 would be Cata all over again, if they want to follow a pattern, which Blizzard does kind of do a little bit. But that's, you know, a lot of work, obviously, so might not be something they want to do, but, and this would be even more work, you know, let's say the expansion, you know, very, 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 very heavy Old Gods influence. And, you know, let's just say, of course this is all speculation, that it's not like a gentle rise into the Old Gods. Just everything goes full-blown hentai right away, and there's tentacles everywhere. And that's, like, the start of it, is all the Old Gods awaken, except Ishar, because he's not exactly in one piece right now. You know, they all come back. Maybe Ishar's Ishar's, ignore me, comes back in some way, shape, or form. For those of you who don't know, Ishar's was kinda broken apart by the Titans, and if I'm not mistaken, became, like, the fragments of him became the Shah in Pandaria. But
interesting.
I think it would be kind of neat to see all of Azeroth kind of revamped. And now this is probably the most unlikely thing I have on this list. And I don't just mean Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor again, like in Cataclysm. I mean Northrend and Pandaria as well. because, like, Yogg-Saron is in Northrend, and him, breaking out of his prison or whatever would obviously do a lot of, like, stuff up there, which would give it reason to be revamped. And if I'm not mistaken, Blizzard's kind of talking about, or they mentioned before, that it's getting kind of weird for them too, that the timeline jumps around so much. Because you go, in leveling, you go from Kata stuff with the revamp to Burning Crusade to Wrath to Kata again, then it continues like it does. And I can see Mists getting revamped too, which is a shame because I really like a lot of the Mist of Pandaria questing. The only places I can't see getting revamped are Outlands, because why would the old gods breaking out here affect Outlands? And the same goes with Draenor. That's technically Outlands, just in the past. And I don't see the Broken Shore stuff getting revamped just because it's so, like, brand spanking new. And it doesn't really need it, and it kind of is the segue into 8.0 anyway. So, but you could also make the same argument that Warlords of Draenor stuff, well, it won't be changed, but Mist stuff shouldn't be changed because it leads to Warlords of Draenor, yada yada yada. But sometimes you have to make change. So the most unlikely thing that I would like to see, and wouldn't be 100% surprised to see, is a total Azeroth revamp. Maybe Outlands too, if they find some way to do that. But again, I can only imagine that just how much work goes into that, especially with how, like, awesome the questing has become, in my opinion. I can just see it being a huge pain in the ass, but I would like it, personally. But going into that, I also expect to see zone scaling, which I know a lot of other people have mentioned. Just like how you level in Legion, you can go wherever you want, and stuff scales to you there. So, like, that's in the old world, and it would make leveling in alt a little less tedious, because I'm leveling a human rogue right now. Pardon me for the horrible rogue gameplay, by the way. And I started in Elwyn Forest, and my path was Elwyn, Westfall, Redridge, Duskwood, Stranglethorn, other Stranglethorn. Then I went all the way to Faralas, because I never leveled there before, and now I'm here in Thousand Needles, regrettably. But I always I keep leaving the zones early because I'm out leveling them. Heirlooms might be to blame for that, a little bit. But if the zones all scaled to your level, you wouldn't really have to leave the zone. Right away, at least. You could finish all the quests in the zone, and then, say I finish up Elwyn. I don't necessarily have to go, like, from Elwyn here down to Westfall. I could, say, go from Elwyn over to, where's it at? Redridge. And then from Redridge, I don't have to backtrack to Duskwood. I could just go straight up to the Burning Steppes, and I could continue that storyline. Because if I'm remembering correctly from leveling for the first time back in Kata, they're kind of connected. Maybe not, though. I think that is actually really likely, because it worked really well in Legion. In the Legion invasion event, like the Legion pre-launch event with the Burning Legion invasions of some of the lower level zones, or like not just some of my favorite moments in World of Warcraft, but like the first time I did it, and just seeing all these giant what are they called? Infernals, like walking around, and all the giant world bosses and stuff. That was really cool to me, and I was really excited to do it. Because I just got out of the Demon Hunter starting zone. There was one going on in, not Silithus, Tannerus. And for some reason I thought that was the easiest one to go to. And I went to it, and I remember jumping off my mount, and I glided down with the Demon Hunter's glide ability thing, and it was an amazing feeling. And then I leveled a lot of characters during that event just because of the ridiculous experience. But, you know, I was there, like, I think I was leveling, not an orc warrior, I was leveling a rogue, actually. This is my first rogue. But I was there, like, I ran straight from Durotar to the Barrens, which was currently one of the places under the Legion invasion. And I was a level 1 taking part in... Or I was a level 1 fighting alongside level 100s. And yeah, I had my own level 100s, but it was still a really fucking cool feeling. Because I felt like no matter what level it was, I belonged where I was. And I just think that having everything scaled like that would be a great way to, you know, keep it fresh in a way. Wouldn't make leveling and all stale. And I do think that's something that's likely, and I do think a lot of people like the scaling like that in Legion, and I think Blizzard realizes that a lot of people like it. Because I've been having a lot easier time leveling characters in Legion than I was in Warlords, because 1, I haven't really quit Legion yet like I did Warlords, and 2, I can just kind of mix up what zones I go to, which makes it a lot easier to want to do it. So moving on, oh shit, I jumped ahead, the zone scaling. Now, I mean, like, I missed a point on my, little list here. Now, I mentioned earlier that most of this is speculation, but one thing is all but confirmed, and that's sub-races. I'm going off the top of my head here, but there was, like, more stuff found in the files that was data mined that had models for Lightforged Draenei, Nightborn from Suramar, High Mountain Tauren from High Mountain, and Void Elves like Illyria. All but the Void Elves, to my understanding, have like a character creation screen background to them. And I know sub-races have been a thing that have been talked about for a long time. Just for reference, the ones that had a character creation screen were Nightborn, High Mountain Tauren, and Lightforged Draenei. The Void Elves just might not be there yet. But that doesn't mean that these are going, or those would be the only sub-races added in. If they're even going to be added in. It's not even a guarantee that they are definitely going to be added. I think they will be, but that's just because I'm a hopeful and optimistic person. No, I'm not. I personally would love to play as a Nightborn or something. I'd switch this guy over to be a Nightborn rogue in a heartbeat. If armor looked good on him, because to be honest, the only reason I'm leveling this guy is because of this gear right here. Not this gear, this gear. But for anybody just listening, that was a rogue set from Antaurus. So basically, I'm gonna have to raid for the first time on this guy. Gotta find a guild first for that. But just because those are the 4 sub-races that were shown, kind of, doesn't mean they would be the only sub-races playable, because there's a lot of different possibilities. Like, for the Tauren alone, there's the High Mountain Tauren, yeah, but there's also the Northrend Tauren. I call them the Tonka. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but I believe it's pronounced Tonka. They're like the more woolly kind of Tauren. For goblins, there's the Gilbans, I think is what they're called. For the orcs alone, there's Fel orcs, but I don't know if they would be an option, because they're kind of like bad. There's the, please forgive me if I'm getting the name wrong, but the Mag'har, I think, in Hellfire Peninsula, and there's the like uncorrupted orcs on Draenor. They just have a bunch of different like options for the trolls, especially if we're going to Kulturas. That's around near Zandalar. You know, you could get Zandalari trolls or this troll and that troll, because there's more trolls than just the Darkspear trolls. Gnomes, who cares? Dwarves, Dark Iron, Wildhammer, etc. Kidding about the gnomes, I don't know if there's any other kind of gnomes. Humans, not so much. And Night, I don't know if they said Night Elves would be the Void Elves, or if Blood Elves would be the, what'd I just say? I don't know if they've said, like, that the Nightborn would be Alliance and the Void Elves would be Horde, or the other way around, or if they're gonna be, like, neutral. But there's, like, you know, the Elves have those going for them. There's technically the Highborn. I don't really know what those are. Highborn, High Elves, whatever. Those might be the Nightborn from Suramar. I'm not really sure. No, you know what? I'm sorry. I hate this zone. I'm going to Tanner's.
Very well then.
I really hate Thousand Needles. It's a shame, because it would have been nice if I could stay here until I got to a later point, but because it kind of fits, but whatever. I'm trying to think of any more possible. Undead have a lot of options for sub-races if they want to make undead models of other races, but I hope they don't do it for all of them, because just between you and me, I don't really want to see an undead worgen running around. That would make me really sad, seeing a dog skeleton or a half-rotted dog man. But like, I don't know, I could see like a night elf skeleton or something, or just something like that, you know? Especially after everything going on with the Legion, there's plenty of people for Sylvanas to, you know, bring back from the dead. Really, the undead has so many possibilities, it's ridiculous. And there's many more too. I can't think of any more. What races am I forgetting? I think I more or less covered them all, actually. Pandaren are probably fine. They don't really need any more sub-races. They're actually pretty good on their own, I think. Actually, if you told me that a male Pandaren and a female Pandaren were different races, I'd believe you, because they look so different. But no, I think sub-races are a guarantee, but there's also the possibility of new races. I think new races are less likely, but if I was Blizzard, one of the races that I would introduce during this expansion would be none other than the Goblins. But they've already been introduced because, or the reason I say that though, is because their home is by, like, Kulturas, and it's in the South Seas, I think it's called. So this would be a perfect opportunity to introduce them. But as they were already introduced back in Cataclysm, where I feel like ogres should have been introduced personally, that's not going to be the case, obviously. Now, this is kind of a discussion on its own, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. I can't really see any more races being added in beyond sub-races that wouldn't be a neutral race. Like the Pandaren. Like, you know, a lot of people want Naga to be playable, so say Naga are playable. I can't see Naga being Alliance owned. I can see... Actually, this is better. I can see Naga kind of just going wherever the hell they want. Just whatever, like, fits their fancy, you know?
Be good.
Same with ogres to an extent. To my understanding, they were a part of the Horde in the past. Even if it was just as hired mercenaries, maybe. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I can't really see ogres just being exclusive to the Horde either. And now I am all for more races and sub-races. I love the idea to no end, because, holy shit, I look amazing. I like it because it adds diversity, and I really like diversity in games. So if I had to, Blizzard's been pretty kind to us lately, and kind of giving us what I want, or what we want, what I want. So I would be somewhat surprised, but I wouldn't be 100% surprised if on Friday they go, yeah, and Naga and Ogres are playable now. Like, that would not surprise me in the slightest. It'd surprise me a little more if they introduced two races and made them both neutral and let them go to whatever faction they want. But I wouldn't be, like, blown away at it, because it's a small possibility, but I feel like it's a possibility nonetheless. Then I don't know how sub-races or whatever would go for them. Ogres, of course, have two-headed ogres, which I think are only magic users, maybe. And then Naga, I don't know, are Murlocs part of the Naga? Like, could we have a playable Murloc? I don't know. But we're definitely going to see something related to races at the announcement. I just don't know what it'll be. We're not going to be playing as whatever the hell I'm playing as, though. I can tell you that much. So I did the zone scaling already. Now, world quests. I 110% believe that world quests are going to come back. I think they're never going away, pretty much. But I think they're going to exist in two ways. I think they're going to exist like they did, or like they do rather, for level 110, where you can get gear from them, you can kind of gear up from them, but it takes a little while, like all that kind of stuff. And now, but I also think that they will, oh hey, South Sea. I think they will also exist, thank God there's one, in the form of the Legion Assault, but not a Legion Assault, like a Naga Assault or a Old God Assault or whatever, where you can kind of get some fast experience from them too. So they'll be there to help you level, and then they'll also be there in a different form to help you gear up at the end.
Too far away.
Not a whole lot to say about that. I don't really know how they could change world quests to make them any better, because I think they're already pretty fun as it is. But yeah, like they're still gonna be there. I will be dumbfounded if world quests aren't still in the game come next expansion. Now, another important thing to touch on is new classes. Now, I'm just gonna say right from the get-go, I don't think there will be a new class, because we just got Demon Hunter. But on the other hand, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a revamped spec here or there. Kind of like how Survival Hunter went full melee in Legion, and I hear it's pretty fun. I think maybe some kind of, ranged rogue or something would be pretty cool, and I know I'm not the only one to say that, but I really like the idea of it. Kind of like focusing on throwing weapons or something from a distance, not entirely unlike the Headhunter unit from Warcraft 3. Obviously, it wouldn't be troll exclusive, it would be kind of for everybody, and I'm playing Subtlety right now, I think. Yeah, so it would replace, Subtlety or Assassination or whatever. In my opinion, Subtlety would probably be better for it, because throwing something from a distance seems more subtle than stabbing somebody in the face, but that's just me. If that happens, who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if there's some changes to some specs. New specs added entirely. Oh, speaking of like new classes and stuff, there is something I wanted to touch on with the races and sub-races. First off, totally forgot to say Tuskar. They're going to be playable 100% if the gods are willing. But I'm also personally wondering if sub-races couldn't possibly have different class options compared to, you know, a different sub-race in that, like a race tree. I don't know what you want to call it. So, you know, on the unlikely scenario, you know, there's the Lightforged Draenei, and say, you know, we'll just go 100% total crazy here. Eridar is also a sub-race for Draenei, which I believe is 100% unlikely, but could an Eridar be a warlock? While the Lightforged Draenei and the regular Draenei couldn't be. Like, I don't know how much work that would be. I know, at least I think so. Like, you can, sorry, I'm stuttering over my own words. You can see, like, you know, you could look at Warlock gear on a Draenei if you wanted to, and it has a model for it. So, I don't see that being entirely out of the realm of possibility either, and it would make the sub-races a little more unique, and probably kind of make them feel like their own race in a way. Now, that obviously wouldn't be possible for every single race, because, like, for the dwarves, Dark Iron Dwarf is just Dwarf, and Wildhammer is just a Dwarf, you know? So there's not really a whole lot of differences they can make there. Also Broken for the Draenei. Broken Draenei would probably fit too. Of course, you probably have to make new models for them, though, like you would with Ogres and Naga and stuff, and don't even get me started on the goddamn tail feet debate. I'm not even going to touch that, because everybody does. I don't think we need boots, but that's just my opinion. But I don't really have anything else to say about the specs and stuff, or maybe new class combinations for sub-races. We'll have to see. I think it'd be cool, but I understand if it's not entirely possible, but I feel like there's probably just a switch at Blizzard HQ that they flip and they can make a Draenei a Warlock if they want to. Now, probably the biggest thing to talk about when we're talking about 8.0 is artifacts. We already know that we are going to lose our artifacts. I have never opened the lockbox. Like, we already know that we're going to lose our artifacts at some point in the future. Before 8.0, like, they've said that artifacts aren't going to carry over into whatever 8.0 is going to be called. My hope is that, yeah, like, Ashbringer, you know, either it breaks for some reason, or, like, we have to expel all of its power to prevent whatever threat is happening from happening right now and buy us some time to build our strength even further somehow. Or, you know, if we just say, oh, I'm done with it, here you go, and give it back. You know, give Thrall back Doomhammer, give Ilaria her bow, I think the marksmanship hunter has. Whatever, you know? Anything like that. I kind of hope that they break, because that makes it a lot more significant, in my opinion, but again, that's just my opinion. But what's going to replace these uber powerful artifacts? And I'm sure anybody and their mother watching kind of knows where I'm going with this, because everybody's talking about it, which is crafting your own artifacts. Not like crafting, but like getting to make your own artifact. So, say I'm playing on my paladin, and I go, whatever happens that causes Ashbringer to break happens, or I go to my class order hall and just like hang the Ashbringer up, and then suddenly they're like, we need more power. Then things happen, and we go make our own. So I go to some great forge or whatever, like the forge in Blackrock or whatever, where you had to do stuff for the legendary weapon, Sulfurous, or whatever it's called, Sulfuron, I think. Sulfurous, maybe. And I'm sitting there like, tink, 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 and then I craft my weapon, because it takes 3 tinks in World of Warcraft to craft something. And there I have my 2-handed mace, the Ash Taker. Instead of bringing the ash, I'm going to take all the ash of Azeroth. And with my 2-handed hammer, I'm going to go and smash all the ash of Azeroth. Then yada yada yada. And I'm building my own. And you build your own story for it. And you can make this 2-handed spear if you want to. Obviously going for Retribution Paladin. You can make your own spear, or axe, or sword, or hammer, or whatever you want to do. Staff even, maybe. That'd be kind of neat. Possibly. And you could make the weapon your own. Obviously, naming it would be kind of sketchy. And there would probably have to be definite word. Limits on it. Like, I don't think XX Pushy Destroyer 69XX is going to be allowed, but XX Pushy Destroyer might be allowed, and I'm sure people will get it. And then somehow maybe you can customize the look of the weapon, with like attaching different parts to it, but that would be kind of weird, and I can see that being really complicated from a development standpoint. And it's just another thing that would be really, really cool, but is also probably the second most unlikely thing on this list behind the total world revamp. But I wouldn't be surprised if we just story-wise get to make our own weapon, just maybe don't get to customize the look of it, or the name of it. Maybe we get to customize the look but not the name, or we get to customize the name, not the look. Who knows? But we'll definitely hear what's going to happen for that on Friday as well, I would say. Cannot find 2 basilisks for the life of me, god damn it. This is live gameplay, by the way, if you couldn't tell by now. Now, the last thing on my list is something that I haven't really understood why people are saying it. So I just put it on here to kinda rant about it, or ramble about it, rather, for a second. Just to kinda try to wrap my head around it. And people have been talking about, like, player ships, or faction ships, or class ships, or whatever. Because it's looking like it's going to be a very ocean-heavy expansion. But I don't get why people are so fixated on ships. Like, why can't we just move our class order hall or something to where we're going? Like, set up a new base of operations. I mean, hell, the Deathmates don't need a ship in the water. They can just fly their space thing. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so... Arcurus, maybe? You know what I'm talking about. They could just fly that there, or hell, could just teleport Dalaran there again, or don't even have to do that, because mages could just teleport there from the Hall of the Guardians in Dalaran. I'm not saying I don't like the idea of ships, maybe having your own kind of pirate crew kind of thing. That'd be really, really cool for the Outlaw Rogue, that's for sure, because it's basically like a pirate already. But, like, I can see it kind of being like the next version of the class order halls, which was like the next version of Garrisons, but I don't know. I just can't see how that would work necessarily. Like, the class order halls are really good in my opinion. Gameplay-wise, kind of, and story-wise, I thought they were really good. Because, you know, they told a story for each individual class, and, like, I don't know, it's just another story to experience. And, like, finding out who all the class champions are going to be was really cool. There was a couple that I was like, whoa, what? Like, I guess it's safe to say, like, I was shocked at Lothraxian for the Paladins. I was like, look, like a light dreadlord? What the fuck? Like, that's awesome, but what the fuck? Like, that's a total mindfuck. And it was just, it was really neat. And going from that to a ship, this seems kind of weird to me. The way I see them working, and again, this is just my opinion, they would definitely work more like garrisons than they would class order halls.
Keep it real.
Like, instead of, you know, all paladins in the paladin one, or all rogues in the rogue one. I can see it becoming more diverse again, just like the garrisons. Now, if you're like me, your paladin garrison, you had a tavern, and you had a tavern until you recruited all paladin followers, and then you kind of already had your own little paladin order going on. Or I did the same thing for mages. I was a little more lenient on my warrior, where it was like all melee classes, I want to say I did, excluding paladins. I don't think I did paladins and death knights. I think I allowed for warriors and rogues, but that's not what we're talking about. Maybe shamans as well. I don't know. I don't remember. Oh hey, I leveled up. What did I get? Faint. Okay. So I don't know. Having your own pirate crew kind of thing seems really cool, but I'm just really curious as to how everybody kind of got on ships. Like, that just seemed to click with everybody. And hey, that's what people want, then that's what people want. Do I have to kill 40 of these guys? What the hell? What am I doing? Am I doing something wrong? Shit. There's a hot air balloon I have to get in. Don't mind me. But I'm sure whatever it is, it'll be cool. Whatever it is will be way better than the shipping yard from Draenor. But for the most part, that is all, excluding the very jumbled player ship kind of thing at the end. That's kind of all what I expect to see announced. No matter how unlikely anything that I said is, I still think there's a possibility for it. Even all the way back to the complete revamp of Azeroth. Excluding Legion stuff, of course. So that's like, I'm setting all that in stone. That's what I'm expecting. I'll probably make a follow-up video after BlizzCon, probably that night, talking about it. And talking about what I got right or how much I got wrong, which is probably going to be a lot. Probably everything, knowing me. No, I'm pretty good at making guesses, actually. At least I like to think so. So I'm fairly certain a couple stuff I've said is going to end up being right. Excluding sub-races, because everybody kind of knows that stuff already. So that's the end of the speculation, and if you made it this far, I very much appreciate it, even though this is like the only thing I have up on this channel. But the video doesn't end there, because there was an idea I had for the next expansion, and how everything would go into the next expansion, before we knew all the stuff we do now. That is, everything that happened on Argus, with Torellian and Ilaria, all that stuff. Like, before the Argus patch even came out, I was like, okay, this is what I think is going to happen. You know, this is how it's going to lead into the next expansion, yada, yada, yada. And I was very dead set in my belief in, like, what I felt like was, like, the truth. Where the hell am I? What am I doing? There's supposed to be people down there? Yeah. Sorry, I'm confused. It's been a while since I've been here. So, here was my thought, okay? Yes, the end of Antorus kind of seems to be the end of the Legion, and if not the end of the Legion, it's an end to the Legion for a time. Like, I don't think they're going to be involved all that much for quite a while. Sargeras might still come back at some point, but my theory began with us going to Argus. So we land on Argus. You know, we do our best to secure a foothold there, and things kind of go the way they did. But while we are there, we are taking significantly more losses than, you know, what we had anticipated, even though we had anticipated a significant amount of losses. Because we were heading to basically the Legion's homeworld. So obviously, you know, shit was gonna get crazy, and it was gonna get real fast. And we were going to realize that we kind of had to pull out of there. This is actually just one idea I had, by the way. And this was thinking that, okay, there will be a 7.4. Because I hadn't heard anything about, you know, there only being 3 patches. I imagined we would go to Argus. In this scenario, we would go to Argus, realize we are in way over our heads right now, come back to Azeroth, and then 7.4 is, like, just somehow pushing the Legion off of Azeroth again, and, like, in that final climactic struggle on Azeroth to get them, like, away, that's where our artifact breaks, and we use all the power stored up in it to, like, banish the Legion for the moment, until they can come back. Now the other idea was we get on Argus, and we go there and we kind of say that we can't leave until we're done. Like, until everything here is said and done, we cannot leave this planet. And you know, I imagined us storming Antorus. I didn't know its name then, but like some kind of Legion headquarters. And there, at the very end, there's the big boy himself, Sargeras. And you know, we're fighting him, we're fighting his big toe as hard as we possibly can. And it comes down to it, and we realize, like, this is too much. Like, he's still too powerful. But then Khadgar's like, champion, use all the power from your artifact weapon. And, you know, all the players in the raid hold their artifact weapons up in the sky like they do for some reason when they get artifact power, and they channel all that into Sargeras, and that's it. Like, that's the end of Sargeras. But it leaves us powerless. And that's kind of as far as I got with that one, to be honest. But let's just say that our artifact weapon does break during the fight with Sargeras, which I don't think we're even fighting Sargeras. I think he's just showing up. But say we were fighting him and our artifact weapon does break. I imagine us, canonically, of course, being away from Azeroth for quite some time. Not like years, but like I would say a couple months have passed, because yeah, you can leave Argus and go back to Azeroth, but I feel like that's more for a gameplay standpoint than it is for a story standpoint. As far as I'm concerned, all my characters are on Argus constantly, but they can go back to other places, because how else am I going to take part in Hallow's End? You know? So we go there, and our artifact weapon is basically spent. Like in the fight and everything, you know, everything's horrible. Like we crippled the Legion. Sargeras is dead. Who knows how many like Legion leaders are left alive, but like the main guy is dead. Fucking finally. So we hop back on our, spaceship, and we head back to Azeroth. And we get there, and shit hit the fan in a big way. The old gods are back. Like Ashara's made her move. Jaina's a fucking dreadlord. And it's just horrible. And we're like, what the hell are we gonna do? Because our artifact weapons are spent, and they were like, the most powerful weapon we had. And, now the old gods and their minions are just running rampant. There's Klaxi and, what are they? Kiraji, I think? I don't know, the other bug people. They're all running rampant everywhere. There's Nerubians. It's just bad times all around. And then we ended up retreating to the South Shores. Or South Shores, southern, the place where Coltieris is. And like we kind of mount a resistance there, Horde and Alliance alike. Still with faction shit because it's kind of a part of the game. But it's just another, ooh, rare. It's just another like threat that we had to team up to take on, because really, oh my god, he has 2 heads. I'm about to make a mark of this guy to come get him on my hunter. Because really it's getting to the point where every single threat that we're facing, we really can't handle on our own anymore. It can't just be Horde or Alliance, it has to be both of them. And just, somehow, Coltieris for the Alliance, Zandalar for the Horde, and somehow, like, with our newfound allies in the Army of the Light, we forge our own weapons, that was still a part of it, and we take the fight to the old gods. And of course, all of that has been blown out of the water now, because really, it doesn't make sense. At the time, I wasn't really thinking about it, but now it's all blown out of the water, and very unlikely, but we probably won't lose our artifacts until the next expansion starts. Like, that'll probably be the 8.0 starting area, or whatever. Or kind of like the Broken Shore invasion thing that we had. That's probably where we'll lose them, because we kind of need them, because it's the only weapon we got in Legion. So you can't just take them away the second we beat Antorus. And then what? Like, we have nothing to fall back on, unless story-wise we don't have our artifacts, but you let us but we're allowed to hold on to them until 8.0, because we need a weapon to play, and we haven't got anything. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want my badass Ashbringer to be replaced by Kultir and Cutlass, the green weapon from a quest giver. Like, I really don't want that. But I think it'll all work out. And I'm really excited for BlizzCon and everything they showed this year. Hoping for maybe some new Hearthstone stuff, even though I don't play it all that much. I'm hoping for some new Diablo stuff, but I doubt it will be, because this is probably going to be a very heavy Warcraft themed BlizzCon, but I'm really looking forward to it. And I wish I could have went this year, but I can't. Hopefully next year, though. I'd really like to go sometime.
What's up?
But I'm looking forward to it. I think everybody else should look forward to it too. Thank you for sitting here listening to my rambling. It really helped me get through 1,000 Needles. Goddamn. I guess I'm doing the Goblin equivalent of the Hammock Quest, which I'd already done once today, and Stranglethorn. So I'll get this uploaded. Hopefully the music in the background doesn't get it taken down or anything, or muted, because I did not record this audio separately on Audacity, so I don't have any backups of it. And yeah, I'll see you guys on Friday, maybe. There's another discussion video I want to make, but it's just purely for fun. And I need to do some thinking on it, to be honest. So, yeah, I will see you guys next time, and thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye!